So here's our Shelly-1 Relay. We're going to use this today to control our Chilipepper water recirculation pump. And the first thing you'll see is that I've added a 12 volt power supply. This supply is going to be used to power the Shelly by 12 volts rather than 110. You do have the option to connect either one. So it's important to get the polarity correct. The plus 12 goes to the first pin and the ground goes to the second. And the other important thing, which is why I have the cover off, is to set this jumper switch correctly. The jumper in this position is for the 12 volt low voltage supply. And I've just included a AAA battery there just to give you an idea how small it actually is. Very compact module. So with that, we're ready to hook it up and install it on our water pump. So here's our Shelly app. Let's talk about some specific features that we're going to enable to control our Shelly device that's being used to operate our Chilipepper water recirculation pump on our kitchen faucet. So first, please excuse the portrait view. For some reason, the Shelly app does not want to show the settings menu when it's in the landscape view. So just for the purposes of this video, please excuse the portrait. So I'm not going to go into too great detail about setting up the Shelly application from scratch, but it is fairly intuitive. You can find some specific videos here on YouTube that will show you in much greater detail how to do that. But essentially, you create rooms, and within each room you can add as many Shelly devices as you have available. You will see here that I have just two rooms, my family room and my kitchen, and you open the settings menu and you can see that there is an add room feature where when you select that, it gives you details to add another room. You can select what you want to call it, or you can select a picture from their menu, or you can upload your own menu from a picture from your own home. Anyway, so that's adding room, and then if we select the kitchen, you do essentially the same thing to add a device. In this case, it's not going to find any. It would, but I don't. It's not going to find any new devices because I've already added it. But essentially, you go through the same routine to add your Shelly device into the particular room that you have chosen to install it. So you see here, I've already installed one, and I've called it Chilipepper. That's the brand of the pump that we're going to control. So let's open up that particular device and take a closer look at what we've got here. So the first thing is when you set up the device, you can select whatever type of icon you choose for the device that you're controlling, and conveniently there was a ready-made icon that showed a water faucet, which I thought was applicable in this case for the water recirculation pump. Then you have the enable button, and then on the right half of the screen we have the different features that we can select. So let's take a look at the operation. So when I turn it on, you'll see that it comes on only briefly for about 1 second and then it goes off again. We've actually done that deliberately because the way the Chilipepper pump operates is that it only needs a momentary switch closer in order to go into its own automation routine. Then it continues to run until it reaches the water temperature set point that the device has been set up for. So how do we give it that momentary command rather than having to turn it on and then turn it off again. Well, you can do that automatically in the automation, and you select the timer feature. And what we want to do in this case is control it to be auto off, so that this means that after it's been turned off, it will automatically turn off after a period of time. So we check the when on turn after X seconds, and then we can change the number for however long we want it to run. In this case, we only need the briefest of momentary on time, so 1 second is sufficient in order to start the Chilipepper automated sequence. So that accounts for our momentary operation of the switch. And the next thing we want to look at is setting up some predetermined schedules so it comes on at the same time every day. And in this case, you can see what I've done is I've set up a schedule so that it comes on at 7:30 a.m. Every day of the week. And if you choose, you can change the time. You can change the days. Maybe we want to put in a different schedule for the weekends than we have on the weekdays. I'm just going to leave it as it is right now. And of course, you can add another schedule, and this one could be, as I suggested, maybe you do this one for the weekend only, and you change that to maybe 8 o'clock instead, and save. So that would run at 8 a.m. on the weekends rather than 7:30 on the weekdays. Anyway, I'm not going to add that for now. I'm just going to leave the one schedule. So we have that in place. So again, we can go back, we can test the run function, it comes on, it goes off. So that addresses the capability to control our Shelly device for the Chilipepper application. So right now, the only automation that we have is the predetermined schedule where it comes on every day of the week at 7:30 in the morning. But we can further automate that by connecting it to the Amazon Lady device. Now there are two ways to actually do that. You can directly in the Amazon Lady application, you can add the Shelly skill and it will detect the Shelly device, and you can control the Shelly directly from the Amazon Lady just by spoken command. The other way to do it is through SmartThings. If you're a SmartThings user, it does not require a hub in order to communicate with SmartThings. Shelly is a registered device that works with SmartThings directly. So if you're already using SmartThings, you may want to, instead of going directly to the Amazon Lady, you can put it in SmartThings, and then if you have the SmartThings skill enabled in Amazon Lady, it will detect it, the Shelly device via that. You don't want to do both the Shelly skill and the SmartThings skill within the Amazon Lady, because if you do, you'll end up with two devices, both with the same name. So it's only really necessary to do one or the other. Anyway, that pretty much addresses how you can further utilize the Shelly device. And again, the simple command, spoken command from the Alexa Lady will turn it on whenever you want to, without having to reach for a button or the remote or the application. So that's pretty much it. I hope that was useful. Thanks for listening. So now we have the Shelly relay installed. You will find two wires coming off the pump, a red and a white wire. The polarity is unimportant because we're just using it as a switch, so you don't have to worry about red to positive or vice versa. So I've actually just used a pair of black wires as extensions, as the wires that come on the pump are actually quite short, And it's just a little awkward to feed those wires directly into the Shelly relay, although if you can manage to do that, you could actually mount the Shelly relay inside the box itself. I've got the wires coming outside, and here is the relay. And you can see we have just the 4 connections on it. The 2 wires from the pump go to the 2 terminals on the left, and the first 2 terminals are the 12-volt power supply that we configured earlier. The center terminal is not used in this application because that is for an external manual switch if you wanted to control the relay without actually using the app or an automated service by Wi-Fi or whatever. Anyway, and it's plugged in to the socket. So now let's see if it actually works. Alexa, turn on Chilipepper. Okay. So there you go, and you can see why I have the Chilipepper. My kitchen sink is quite a long way from the water heater, and it takes about 45 seconds to a minute of running in order to get hot water to the faucet. So this device is actually invaluable. It's a great water saver. So instead of that running water down the drain for a minute, waiting for it to get hot, it's recirculating, and of course when I turn on the faucet we'll have instant hot water. So the only thing that remains now is to mount the Shelly. I'll probably just stick it on the wall, maybe with a piece of double-sided tape or similar. But there you go, it's operational.